Welcome to Draw My Presidency. Today, our episode is on Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt Jr. was the 26th President of the United States. He served from 1901 to 1909 as a Republican after the assassination of William McKinley. A veteran in the Spanish-American War, Roosevelt used his bold nature in his presidency, and it was evident in his progressive policies. There were five main conditions that Roosevelt sought out to fix. First, journalist Upton Sinclair went undercover in a meatpacking plant in Chicago and wrote the novel The Jungle. It detailed disgusting yet true details about the process of meatpacking, including rats, flesh, and unknown chemicals. The American public was exposed to what really went into their meat, and public outrage fueled by yellow journalism was high. Next, railroad companies, which were the first big business in the US, continued to run mostly unregulated, despite the ICC's creation. They could still charge high prices to their consumers, and Roosevelt wanted to regulate them more. Similarly, conflicts between labor and management still ran high across the country. This culminated in the anthracite coal miners' strike in 1902. The strike threatened to freeze the Northeast since there was not as much coal in circulation. In the same wavelength, the big trusts that were created during the Gilded Age ran unregulated as well. Previous presidents had done nothing to stop them, but Roosevelt felt otherwise. Finally, with the rise of corporate agriculture and business, wildlife areas were being destroyed and demolished to give space to new developments. Following the sickening details revealed in The Jungle, Roosevelt passed two acts regarding food safety. The Pure Food and Drug Act passed in 1906 created the Food and Drug Administration and required companies to list the ingredients of consumables that they sold. Later, the Meat Inspection Act, also passed in 1906, banned the mislabeling and misbranding of meat. In the railroad dilemma, Roosevelt again passed two acts. Passed in 1903, the Elkins Act boosted the authority of the ICC and made shippers and railroads alike liable for secret kickbacks. Then, with the Hepburn Act in 1908, the ICC gained the power to set maximum rates for railroads, curbing the high prices that railroads had set in the past. With the anthracite coal miners' strike, Roosevelt acted unprecedentedly. Instead of siding with business, Roosevelt served as a neutral bridge between the two sides. Using his patented square deal, where he would not choose sides between labor and management, he hammered out a deal where workers got 10% more wages and a decrease in the workday, and the companies could charge a higher price for their coal. Roosevelt also named himself the Trust Buster, his main target the Northern Security Company. After successfully suing and busted them in a case that went to the Supreme Court, Roosevelt continued to bust bad trusts and regulate good trusts. Roosevelt also wanted to preserve the beautiful wildlife of America. Using the Newlands Reclamation Act and the Antiquities Act, Roosevelt protected hundreds of millions of acres of land, such as the Grand Canyon. Teddy Roosevelt was one of the most consequential and daring leaders in U.S. history. With his progressive ideals, he brought upon cleaner food, increased regulation of big trusts, businesses, and railroads, and revolutionized protection of the wilderness. This is Draw My Presidency, Theodore Roosevelt.